I thought I knew what I was doing, you know, playing MMOs for years, Guild Wars 2 veteran, and more. TBC reminded me that I should be humble about my approach to classic MMOs.
Know your place. Trash.
Listen, I've made a lot of mistakes in my first 30 levels of Classic WoW, my short tenure here, and here is how I corrected them. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for coffee. All right, so the first one, and this was like, in my mind, an absolute game changer, was not actually having the Questy add-on attached to my account. So in WOW TBC, a lot of the quests are oriented around you reading the text and figuring out what to do. The Questy add-on basically just highlights exactly what you do, where you need to go, and where you need to look. It streamlines everything. But possibly the best feature of it is it highlights quests all around the world map, so you know where you are qualifying for quests next. So I finished up recently in Duskwood, and I finished up basically all the quests there. I could now go ahead and take a look to find that, okay, Forest Song in Ashenvale has a lot of quests that I can go and do, and they're all level appropriate. And then to take that a step further, they tell you what the quests are, as well as how much experience they give, and then also if they were oriented around a dungeon, which was such a cool feature. And the first like 20 levels, I didn't have an add-on, and once I got up to level 20 and I installed Questy, it made a world of difference. So just in my case, don't waste any time. You just go ahead and install the add-on through the Curse Forge. It saves a lot of time and makes things feel a lot more meaningful when you're going through your progression, because you know that you're not just wasting time. Like that's me. Like the whole caffeinated dad thing is true. I only have maybe an hour or so to play maybe each day, and I don't want to spend half of that looking around for one quest just because I was misreading the text. I like having the add-on. It just makes everything so simple. Highly recommend. All right, so the next thing that really helped me out, and it's something that it took me a while to actually remember, was the need for food and water. Now, again, you only having water if you're not like a rogue or a feral druid or a warrior. If you're using mana, let me go ahead and put it that way. Having food at a very bare minimum saves a lot of time because it increases the rate that you can pull things without dying. And same thing with water. I found that my shaman, even though he can heal, is so mana hungry.
I don't know why I'm so parched.
You're a thirsty bitch.
Especially in the first 30 levels, that carrying around, 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 little things of water and some things of food makes everything so much easier. I can fight a lot faster. I can pull more enemies quicker, and it's just, I can't stress that enough. And for the first like 10, 15 levels, I didn't carry around any food. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go over and whack everything with a stick and call it a day. That was not the case. That was not the smart move. And honestly, that was something that I had to correct immediately. And once I did, it like everything flows a lot better. Like I feel like I can pull more mobs, I can pull more frequently, I can deal with heavier hitting mobs because I'm at full HP and full mana. It's little things. Gotta have that as you're going through. Next is the first aid. Now, first aid is a secondary profession, so that means that everyone can learn it. And keeping up with that has been one of the, I wouldn't even say it's a mistake that I've made that I didn't keep up with it. It's like I've made sure that I've kept all the cloth that I have found all around the world to make sure that I am keeping that up to date, because having an instant heal that is capable of using in combat, let me rephrase, it's a heal over time, and if you get damaged, then it stops the heal and you can only use it once every minute. But in between pulls, or if you can crowd control an enemy that you're fighting and then go ahead and bandage up, it really makes a huge difference. Now, I think it's in every major city they have the first aid trainer, but then you do have to kind of expand your knowledge. I think here in the Arathia Highlands is where I had to go to get the next tier, and then like you have to find the books to understand or to get into the higher levels. But I think the mistake that I made here is that I didn't research on how to get to the next level of the profession. So I was maxed out at 150, and it's like, oh, it took me a while to realize, oh, I should probably level that up somehow and expand my knowledge. But stay up on first aid. It's so critically important. So the next thing that I forgot was definitely something that I had to remember very abruptly, and that was the use of the talent tree. See, in classic TBC, in classic WoW in general, when you select a talent, it is relatively rigid. That talent is there until you go to the talent trainer, and then you go ahead and respec. The problem is that respeccing costs a lot. I was kind of, we'll say, privileged with Guild Wars 2 because I could change my talents, I could change my skills, I could change everything on the fly with no hesitation, like immediately. I have legendary gear on my elementalist. I could swap back and forth, no problem. Here, the talents that you pick specifically are locked in, and it costs a bit of gold, which again, this is a brand new account. It has like nothing as far as gold is concerned. So that's a hefty cost for me to incur early on. And I did it once and I was like, you know what? I have to make sure that every talent that I'm doing is oriented around the most efficient damage and leveling aspect that I could keep. And that's something that I kind of had to change my mindset, and it was a mistake that I made. It only cost me 1 gold because I realized, I was like, oh crap, I'm probably not doing something right. Because I think initially I was going the elementalist route rather than the enhancement. Enhancement shaman melee, I feel like, is better leveling. Maybe that's just me. But making sure that I stayed on top of the talents and understanding that they're locked in. So finding maybe a leveling build or a leveling talent tree selection would be better suited, because I'm sure that that's out there. I'm sure that you could find that, but I'm going off of gamer instinct and picking my talents out the way that I go. So make sure you stay up on top of your talent tree. The next mistake that I made was waiting too long to do dungeons and do like the dungeon quests that are associated with it. So I guess it was because I was, used to the instant queue. You just press a button and then it puts you into a queue and then it'll automatically pair you. And I've seen that with 14, Guild Wars 2 was doing the quick play beta and stuff like that. And I always kept it in my mindset, it's like, well, it's going to take too long for me to go ahead and get a group for this, or I have to worry about the group composition and stuff like that. Honestly, early on in these levels, it really doesn't matter. Like, I just did the stockade and I was the healer and I had a tank, and I didn't even respec or anything. I just cast heals. Like, that was my job. It's just, I just cast the heals. I did some damage. Like, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And it got me a crap load of experience. And then there was like 5 quests that I completed all while I was in there. It was so good. And I guess it's a mistake that I made was not jumping into them sooner. Now, I don't really know how many other we'll say dungeons I could have gotten into, maybe like Black Fathom Depths, something like that. But that is 100% something that I would stress. And if I were to do this again, I'd be like, really hit those dungeon quests, really start leveling through there, because that is so critical and it offers so much experience so quickly. 100% recommend. I did want to talk about this because this was a mistake that I feel like was very critical, especially for me, because this was a new account and I didn't really have a whole lot of gold. I barely had enough silver to pay for things, but spending my money specifically on the class skills, I think was the hurdle that I had to get over. Because I kept thinking, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to save for level 30 when I can afford the mounts. And it's like, even though I wanted to save, the mounts were still going to cost me, the mount and the mount training was going to cost me like 50 gold or something like that. It was going to be expensive. And I only had like 8 or 9 gold anyway. So I had to change my mindset and say, you know what? Like, since I'm going through the class trainer, let's unlock all of the skills. I held off on purchasing skills for a while because I didn't want to spend what little money that I had. And I realized that the bigger the skills, the better the skills that I have, the faster that I can fight things, the faster that I can clear things. And it was kind of like an investment in all of my character. And most classes have some type of movement ability anyway. I mean, even for my shaman, like my shaman has Ghost Wolf, and I can instant cast that, and it's 40%. It's not 60% like the mounts, but 40% increased movement speed. That should be enough. It's a negligible difference in my mind. So I had to get over that aspect and spending the gold there, but just focusing on training my class skills, that was something that I held off on initially, but I should just know that that's going to be paramount. Got to do that first. So some of the other small things that I found while leveling, and these are just kind of like, I don't want to say inconsequential, but it's as you were going through, but like one of the things that really helped out was actually the rallying cry of the Dragon Slayer. I think that's from killing Nefarian, like when someone turns in that quest. It gives a huge buff for attack damage or for attack power, and then I think it like adds critical strike chance, and It was just massive, and I was like clocking mobs so quickly. Now, I think one of the mistakes that I made with this was that I wasted it, because I was just like, oh, okay, it's probably just like a negligible buff. No, it is so critically important, especially early on. I would say like sub-level like 30, maybe even more. Like the rallying cry offers such a heavy buff to everything that you do. I was just clearing mobs, I was critting, and it was fantastic. So I had to make sure that like as I'm going through, I have to really pay attention to when that's up, so I can make sure that I'm getting that buff. That buff is so strong. Another small thing that I found is, especially with mages, like if you know you're logging in, it's a small way, and it does require you to talk to people. But if you see a mage that's close to your level, just asking them if they can make some food for you, like it's very quick. Like, hey, can you conjure me some food? Can you conjure refreshments? Just so that I can have. Now that only stays with you as long as you were logged in, but if you know that you're going to play for an hour or so and you see a mage, just say, hey, can I, opens up the conversation. I got some from the stockade run, and I used it well after the stockade run. So little small things. All of this really culminates to the abrupt change of how I view classic MMOs, honestly. And it drastically improved my leveling process here. I just had to suffer a little bit. I'm sure some of you guys out there are probably a lot more experienced in WoW TBC, more than me on a meeting. But was there anything that I missed? Was there any leveling tips that you would have that I didn't mention? Comment down below. My big blue billy goat is progressing through his levels right now, and you can see the journey in Blood Mist Isle here. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.